Hello, I'm Pat Hughes, Puppy, Paulding.com. With me is Patti Smith. This is a redux of the Pat and Patti Show that entertained so many people when we debated. We're not going to debate today, but
I
we
did
are.
get you pretty good on that
I
one.
know, but we are going to be talking about the Post 2 Paulding County race that you are still in.
Yes, I am.
And you're running as a Democrat. Oh my goodness! And aren't you proud?
Well, I am proud to be a Democrat.
Well, good, good. I'm proud that you are. Actually,
Thank you.
I ran as a Democrat as well. We had the what was it? The very first Democratic primary contest since 1994.
Yes.
And of course, part of the whole deal was what's going on in the background of this video right now, which is we got a landing zone. We're in landing. Oh, is this what landing zone A or whatever
No,
it is? Look like?
accident potential zone
Oh,
B.
okay. No, so you're not quite this close.
No. I'm just off to the left a little bit of what we see behind us.
Okay. You got in this race because I was in it.
Yes, I had heard that you were running against Todd Pownall, who was the Post 2 commissioner for people out where I live in Post 2, and that you were running pro-airport. And I could not possibly take a chance on somebody winning that election that was pro-airport. So I knew I had to beat you, Puppy.
Well, I mean, it was kind of a foregone conclusion that, I mean, this is Republican County, and so now that you won that election,
Yes.
and
71%.
And Todd,
Sorry, Puppy.
yeah, I know, I'm going to kick you under the table, and on my birthday too.
Happy birthday.
Oh, I thank you. But the race was people didn't think that they needed another anti-airport person because Todd was the champion of the anti-airport folks.
Well,
Isn't he?
well, that's what most people seem to think.
So
but-
why are you still in the race? Why didn't you just drop out?
Because I just don't see that Todd is doing enough to stop this. He keeps saying that he's for the airport, he's for the business aspect of the airport, and I'm not for that. I'm not for bringing MROs to this airport. I do not want companies that are working on jet engines just over the hill from my house, because when they repair one of these jet engines, Puppy, they then run it for like 10 hours high speed just to make sure it works good enough to put it back on the plane, and then they have to fly it around to make sure. There's all kinds of noise and pollution that comes from these MROs, and I do not want to live next door to that.
But they can do that anyway.
Well, they can do a lot of things. They put this airport here and nobody wanted it. So yes, they can do just about anything they want. But that's why I am hoping to be elected in Post 2, because I want to do everything I can to stop their plans at this airport.
Well, has anybody tried to stop you? Get you out of the race, say?
Well, yes.
Tell me that story.
My opponent, Todd, who is a very nice guy, I like Todd, but he did ask me to drop out of the race.
Okay.
He thought it would be easier for him if I weren't in the race, and I'm 100% sure that it would be easier for him if I wasn't in the race.
Did he promise anything in getting you to try to jump out of the race?
Well, I told him that I didn't want to jump out because I hadn't even collected enough campaign contributions yet to pay for my entry fee into the race. Mm-hmm. And he assured me that if I did drop out, that he would be able to find people to give me enough campaign contributions to at least pay myself back for the entry fee.
So he basically kind of bribed you to get out of the race, or offered a bribe to get you out of the race.
Let's don't use the B word, Puppy. We don't want to.
Okay, well,
I don't want to cast aspersions. I don't want to be negative, but
I thought that he engineered you getting in the race in the
I
first
know
place.
you did. I know you did, but it wasn't him. It was my friend Dina did that. She called me and said, that puppy is getting in this race and he's pro-airport and we've got to stop that.
Well, I understand, but the question is, I'd only told Todd that I was getting in the race.
Really?
Oh, yes. And so
Well,
how Dina found out, I
we'll
don't
have to
know.
find
but I'm
out.
sure that Todd.
I'll quiz her
okay.
later.
But anyway, there you go.
Well, I didn't know that part of it, Puppy.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Now I understand your suspicions all these months.
Well, I told David Austin as well, but I don't think David Austin went spilling this. So we were talking about Todd, and of course Todd. I was running against Todd, and I was saying that Todd wasn't the. He should have known more about what was going on, and they didn't trust him, and they let him out of the loop, which kind of says that he was not necessarily being trusted. What do you think about that? I mean, are you not running or using that type of stuff?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to run a positive campaign, but let's be honest, Puppy. I mean, if he didn't know what they were doing, why didn't he know? This is something that, to me, he said that he was aware of the propeller lease, and eventually in some articles at the end of last year, he said that he did know about the propeller lease and he supported it. Now, I have to ask myself, if he supports the propeller lease, then that must mean that he's for commercialization, because the propeller lease is all about the 139 certificate. If you don't get the 139 certificate, you can't have commercial, and he either doesn't understand that, or he didn't read the lease, or he's for commercial. I can't think of what else it is, because that's what propeller is all about, going commercial. And if he supports the propeller lease, he must support commercial.
I would have to assume maybe this is why he wanted you to back out of the race, and why he was going to make sure that his buddies took care of you.
Yeah, it's a mystery to me. All I know is that I don't feel like I'm being represented. And that's just not, I've got to have somebody stand up for me and the people of Post 2, and I don't see that happening.
I've heard that there are complaints about your campaign, saying that Todd said that he is for the airport, not necessarily the commercial but maybe even commercial, because of the implications for MRO and stuff, and security and stuff.
Right.
And that he's all for making it as big an airport as a non-commercial airport as it can be.
Well, right. I mean, he keeps saying that he's for the business, and that's a Republican mantra. We're for business. But I'm not for business if it does great harm to the community it's in. I mean, if you want to get rich, great, but don't get rich on my back. Don't make my house worth nothing so you can be rich. That is not the way it should be in the United States of America. There should be a level playing field.
Well, I was in favor of the airport, but I was in favor of making the residents, the people that are injured by that activity, whole.
Yes.
Is Todd not made promises of that nature?
I've never heard him say anything about that. That's why I'm still in the race, because I don't feel like there's anybody standing up for me and my neighbors. I mean, I know that some people believe that when they have helicopters buzzing over their house and they call Todd and then the helicopters go away, that he made that happen. But I think they just went away because their training schedule was over. I don't see what Todd has done. I mean, I think he's a nice guy, but every time I get assurances that there's something big about to happen, it just kind of fizzles out, and David Austin just ramrods everything he wants right through. And I want somebody to stop David Austin and his crazy plans for Post 2.
Okay, well, I thought that you thought that, and everybody thought that Todd was doing that.
Well, that's what most people think, but I don't see the evidence. I don't see the results. I mean, I know that he's trying. I know that he cares. He says he does, so I take him at his word. But I just don't see the results. I don't see what's happening that's better for me. I still live with the specter of having 737 zipping over my roof. And that is not something I want. Who can live that way? I mean, people shouldn't have to live with that kind of noise and pollution and stress. Stress kills. And it is very stressful when you have Black Hawk helicopters making everything in your house vibrate and shake. It is sort of like being in hell. And when there's big planes, and sometimes big planes do come over my house, but fortunately when they're just coming and going, landing and taking off, it's pretty quick. The pain isn't that bad. But when these helicopters that Blake Swafford keeps inviting out to Paulding County, when they're going over my head and making the floor under my feet vibrate and the windows rattle, it is so stressful. And stress is a deadly disease.
Let me, because I think that you need to, if I were still in the race, I'd be talking about other things besides the airport.
Right.
Have you thought anything about anything besides the airport?
Well, Bubby, if you go to my website, electpattismith.com, you...
That's a fair play. Okay.
You will find a plan of action. I have a plan of action for many aspects of the problems that I see facing this county. And you can go there and read all about it.
Tell me some of it. What are the things besides the airport that you want to see?
Well, I'd like to see this county be more user-friendly to the people. I'd like to see it be more transparent. For example, one problem with businesses and jobs coming to this area is I've heard horror stories about the permitting office in Paulding County. What a nightmare it is to try to get a business started for a small business person. The county is all for bringing big business to the area, but they seem to just go away, little people who want to start a small business in Paulding. But it is small business owners that really create jobs. They create more jobs than big business does. And I think that if we made the permitting office, the business occupational office easier to deal with, then we would have more jobs in this county and more businesses would want to come to this county. I've heard horror stories about people trying to get started in Paulding, and they became so frustrated dealing with the permitting and the occupational licensing offices, they just threw their hands up and went to another county. Now, that's not what we want. It's not just big business that is good for us. It's little business. People like me that want to start a business, people like you that want to grow your business in this county. It needs to be easier. Another thing that we could do is we could build more sewer lines in some of the industrial area, the industrial park. We could get a pad-ready site so that the infrastructure, the sewer, the water is there, so that when somebody comes, they just have to build their building and open the doors.
Okay, so you're for economic development?
Absolutely.
Just not surrounded or centered on the airport?
Why would you, in an area where in Post 2 out by this airport, everybody out there gets their water out of the ground. We have septic tanks and we have well water. And why would you bring the most toxic form of economic development you could find into that area? When in 1973, when the city of Atlanta did an investigation into putting the airport, a second Atlanta airport, out here, they did an intensive investigation and evaluation of the area. And what they found is that the number one thing you would have to do in this area, if you wanted to put the airport out there, is you'd have to bring water and sewer lines out to the people of that area because of the toxicity of an airport. But they haven't done that. The people in Paulding now, David Austin, the airport authority, they aren't interested in bringing salt water and sewer to us. Now, they did bring it out to the airport with our tax dollars, but they aren't interested in letting us get online.
Well, they haven't really been doing much of that anyway, anywhere, and there were places going back into the 80s and 90s where sewerage was needed. I mean, there were 25% of the septic tanks failed. We know, okay.
Yes.
So yeah, that's something that making it available to making access to sewerage and county water. County water they're pretty good on, but the sewerage they could do a better job of making it available in existing areas. Anyway, is there anything else that you really want to say at this moment?
Well, vote for Patti.
Okay, sounds good. Let me say this.
If you want somebody who really cares about the people of Post 2 and will work as hard as I possibly can to defend the property rights and the quality of life issues for the people of Post 2, and also create as many roadblocks into the schemes of David Austin, vote for Patti.
Okay, sounds good. And let me say this, that Todd, if you see this, and you probably will, hey, you never came and knocked on my door, I'd give you the same thing. Anyway, Patti, congratulations on staying in the race. I'm glad that you didn't quit after having defeated me.
Thank you.
That you're, quote, keeping the faith is, who was that guy from, oh hell. But anyway, I'll remember him later. But for Paulding.com, I'm Pat Hughes. This has been Patti Smith.